What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Next Gen Nero back with another video, another review, and this is a very special one. Today, we talking about Dragon's Dogma and why I think it's a masterpiece and why I think Capcom did a hell of a job on this game. First, before I get into it, I want to talk about my history with Dragon's Dogma and fantasy RPGs as a whole. Okay, guys, I'm going to be honest. I only got hip to Dragon's Dogma as a franchise about 2 years ago thanks to my homie Lyric. He tried very hard to explain to me why he loved the first game so much, and he even gifted it to me on Xbox. I played it for a little bit, but due to how outdated it felt for me personally and all the other great games I had on my hands at the time, I kind of fell off of it. And when they announced that the sequel was coming and got announced, I doubled down and just said, I'll wait for the sequel. Skyrim remains one of my favorite games of all time, and it's the game that made me fall in love with RPGs. So when I tell you Dragon's Dogma 2 may have just dethroned Skyrim as my new favorite game of all time, that's saying a lot. I rolled credits on this game in about 45 hours, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface of this amazing game. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about in this review is the graphics in the world. Man, this game looked extremely amazing. I don't care what the internet is saying about performance and the graphics of this game. This is by far one of the most visually appeasing games I played on my Series X. The art style is amazing, and I love the muted approach Capcom has taken. It's very appropriate for the setting and the time period. The world design is perfection as well, with a detailed map with plenty of secrets to discover. Even found myself walking the same paths here and there, and it never felt repetitive. As I became familiar with each location, I became more and more immersed. From dope creatures to fight and interesting NPCs to meet and interact with, this world just kept giving, and after 40 hours, I still felt like I had so much more to do, find, and discover. Each biome and town or city felt extremely different from one another. Fast travel was there for those who crave it to get to A to B pretty quickly, but for me personally, I love walking with my crew and letting the exploration take control. I haven't felt that in the video games since Skyrim, Cyberpunk, and The Witcher 3, and to a slightly lesser degree, Starfield as well. I love this game and I plan on staying in this world for a very long time. But back to the graphics, I think the lighting is done fantastically well. The textures and detail is very well done. The foliage is there, it's very full, it feels very alive. The ray traced global illumination is amazing. No matter if it was dusk or dawn, the game always had an atmosphere that is unmatched and rivaled by very few. I did notice some hiccups in towns and busy areas on my Xbox Series X, but I never had those same performance issues or complaints when I was in combat, which is really saying a lot because as I touch on later in this review, the fights can get very chaotic and hectic. So it being smooth for me during combat was very big, and that was very intriguing and interesting to see because I've had fights with plenty of enemies outside of towns and even, big dragons, and the combat never dropped frame rates. When I'm in town, it does get a little chuggy, probably because all the NPCs and the mechanics going on in the background. So let's talk about the gameplay and combat. Man, this game I feel like this is where the game shines the most, right? From the freedom and flexibility to mixing and matching play styles, possibilities is endless, right? I spent most of my time as a mage and then I switched to a sorcerer before switching and settling on the magic archer and maxing out that play style. Each class felt vastly different from one another, and it's still multiple classes I have yet to touch. It's 9 levels for each of the class that you can max out, and you simply just have to play and fight, and you'll unlock new abilities as you go up those 9 levels. So with the multiple classes being played, especially with the inclusion of a new game plus, I feel like you can play through this game multiple times. Thank you, Capcom, for a new game plus, because when I wrote credits, I was like, what? That's it? I was really wanting more. So when I seen it was just the option to boot up a whole new save with all the skills and everything I got, my money and everything, that was very dope, man. And I look forward to playing through this game again, and probably another time right before it's all said and done. The combat is simply amazing and extremely engaging, and how you approach fights is up to you 100%. Another great feature is the pawn system. You can create and customize one pawn, which is basically your main partner and your travel buddy who will come with you everywhere you go, and then you can hire 2 more pawns, which is the really cool part about this is you can use your friends' pawns and strangers' pawns that they create. And the dope part about this is each pawn I've came across got so much care and detail put into them, whether it's from my friends or just random people pawns I've came across. They'll chat with you, point out hidden things and places for you to check out that they may have came across in other worlds. They'll talk about what other people they've traveled with, like my pawn Storm. She's traveled with people who only travel with men or only travel with women. It's funny, she'll point out little details like that, and she always got a story to tell me when she come back. I haven't been this attached to my allies and people that I'm moving around and traveling with since Mass Effect trilogy, so that's pretty awesome. I'm gonna put my pawn Storm on the screen for you guys guys to go at her and look her up. She's a healing mage right now, and she's all about support, but that can change because just like your main character, you can change your class at any time and you can respect her at any time. So that's really dope. And once again, like I said, it's a lot of freedom and flexibility. So I absolutely love that. Now I want to touch on the story, the voice acting, the sound design. Man, this game story kept me engaged so much to the point that, like I said, I was disappointed when I rolled credits because I did not want it to end, and I did not realize I was at the end of the game as quick as I was. I did do a bit of exploration and did a handful of side missions. So like I said, I was kind of surprised when I got to the end. 40 hours is nothing to scoff at. That's a really good amount of time. But when you got so much stuff to do in this game and it's so engaging, I just kind of flew through it, and I can't wait to start my new game plus, which I actually did right away. I'm thinking about going through a thief, but I might really switch it up and go with the trickster just to be different. So man, it's a handful of quests and side quests you can do and people you can meet and do things for. The exploration, like I said, is very well done. I recommend checking your map as little as possible, especially on the second playthrough. Just walk around, explore the world, go through these caves, find things to do, and man, it'll be extremely fun because I did a bit of that in the first game playthrough, but I will admit I kind of was too reliant on my map, making sure I was on the right road and path to whatever quest I was going through. Next time, I think I'm just going to sit back and just let the world fully immerse me and just enjoy the game, because I think that's the best way to play. It's absolutely fun, man. And like I said, that new game plus is a huge add, and I love that it's there. The cutscenes and voice acting are done extremely well, and that RE engine continues to shine, and I believe it's the best engine in gaming, and I also think it's better than UE5. From the flexibility of Dragon's Dogma 2, Monster Hunter, to the amazing Resident Evil's remakes, and even Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, this engine continues to flex, man, and gotta include Street Fighter 6 in there as well. This engine has an extreme amount of flexibility, and I gotta salute Capcom for that, man. They are high-key one of my favorite devs, if not my favorite game developers of modern time. They absolutely killing it. Now, I will say, outside of cutscenes, the lip syncing can look rather odd at times, and that's my only complaint. It's plenty of side quests and activities to do and discover. Voice acting was well done, actually very well done, and this game is right next to Skyrim and Starfield for my personal favorite soundtracks of all time. Whether it's an intense battle or just walking through the woods, the music is very well done.
I thought I'd see the day when I'd be near you, Bert.
I am here by your side.
And I was left wanting more and more every time. So man, this is pretty much how I feel about the game, man. I absolutely loved it, guys. And like I said, I rolled credits in about 40 hours, but time may vary for different people. Me personally, I feel like I've missed out on a lot in that first playthrough, even though I was not rushing. I was just going with the flow and clicking on the quests as I go, right? It's plenty of achievements that I didn't get for places I didn't discover, or people I didn't fight, enemies I didn't fight. And that's another point I want to touch on lastly too, enemies. I see some people online, complaining about the variety of enemies, and I will say I kind of understand those complaints, but the way these enemies react and the way these enemies fight in this world is extremely well done. Like, you can just be walking in the woods and come across a huge troll, and it just feels like a set piece to an action game, and it's just a random fight, and it feels so engaging to feel like a movie or a TV show is playing out in front of your very eyes, and I absolutely love that, man. Like I said, after 40 hours, I feel like I barely scratched the surface. I'm beyond excited to see what I will discover next. I look forward to future DLCs and expansions because, man, this game is amazing, and this universe is amazing as well. I believe this is a once-in-a-generation game, and I cannot recommend it enough. Thank you, Capcom, for one of my new favorite games of all time. Yes, it's that good. Make sure you like, share, comment. It's been your boy Next Year Nero. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hold up, guys. Before you leave, I got to touch on one more thing I almost forgot. We got to talk about the microtransaction. I just want to say, I think all that discourse is complete bullshit. The option is there for you to buy a $1 or $2.50 little rift crystals and just little miscellaneous things that you can get in game from simply playing the game. Now, if you realize, I went this entire review without bringing up microtransactions until this very point, and I almost forgot to include this in the review. But that just goes to show you that the microtransactions are fucking useless. You don't need them. They are there if you want to use them. Yes, it is nice if you want to use them. That's on, said person. Some gamers don't have a lot of time to game. Some people are fathers, some people are mothers, some people are hard workers, some people only get 2-3 hours to game out of a week. So yeah, some people may want to take shortcuts. And if it's any company that don't deserve to be beat down to the ground for putting microtransactions in their games, it is Capcom. They did it with Resident Evil 4 Remake. They did it with Devil May Cry 5. Both are great games, and it's not pay to win. No such thing as pay to win in a single player game. It is pay to make your life easier. That's fine. It's there if you want to get them. If you don't, I don't get the hype. I don't get the discourse. It's fucking dumb. Enjoy the game. It's a masterpiece. Thank you, Capcom. Catch you guys in the next one.